So the question number 14 is, a particle is moving in a circular path. The correct statement out of the following is, okay, if a particle is moving in a circular path like this, radius we can consider as r, okay, angular momentum will be conserved, but the linear momentum will not be conserved. So we can see directly, as the direction of velocity is changing means momentum is changing, so the linear momentum is not conserved, that is not constant. So what we can say then, if a particle is moving in a circular path, I will consider uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion, then it will have centripetal force acting towards the center. So the torque of the centripetal force will become 0. Torque of centripetal force will be 0. Torque of centripetal force will be 0 means angular momentum will remain constant. Angular momentum will remain constant because no external torque is acting. So we can say that angular momentum will remain conserved. So option number 1 is correct. Now question number 15. Okay, a uniform rod of length L and mass m is free to rotate about the point A. Like this way they have given some situation. This is the point A about which the rod is free to rotate. Length is given as L. The rod is released from the horizontal position given that the moment of inertia of rod about the point A is ml square by 3. I is given as ml square by 3 moment of inertia. If the rod is released from air, they are asking the initial angular acceleration. They are asking the initial angular acceleration. So it is released, it will have some angular acceleration alpha because the rod will rotate like this. Okay. So alpha they are asking. So we can say that why the rod will rotate, due to the torque, and which force is applying the torque here? Gravitation force. So mg will act at the center of the rod, that is at a distance of L by 2. Clear? Then we know that torque is equals to I alpha, and torque we can write down as R into F. F into perpendicular distance of the force from the axis of rotation. So already it is perpendicular, so this will be equals to L by 2 into mg. I is ml square by 3 and alpha they are asking. So m and m will cancel out, 1 L will cancel out. So what you will get? 3 by 2 L into g. So alpha is 3g by 2L. Clear? What we are doing? Torque equals to I alpha. Torque is given by, formula of torque is R perpendicular into F. So F is mg, R perpendicular is L by 2. By that you will get the answer. So answer is 1. Question number 16. All points of a rigid body have same linear speed in rolling. So see this thing. If any rigid body is rolling like this, okay, this is any rigid body, solid sphere you consider. So rolling means some velocity v and angular velocity is omega, and v will be equals to r omega. So the different, if you see this particle will have only linear velocity, that is v. This particle will have v velocity in this direction and omega r velocity in this direction. This particle will have the velocity of v and omega r also in same direction. So as we can see this thing, velocity of all the particles is different. So first statement is wrong. The rotational motion does not affect linear velocity of the rigid body. That is wrong, because just now we have seen rotational motion is affecting the linear velocity of the object of rigid body. So that's why it is wrong. Now question number 17. So both the statements are wrong in the question number 16. 17. The angular momentum of a wheel changes from initial angular momentum is given as 2L, final angular momentum is given as 5L. It is 5L. And how much time it is changing? 3 seconds. So they are asking what is the magnitude of torque. So magnitude they are asking. So magnitude of torque means L final minus L initial divided by T. So this will become 3 minus 5 minus 2 will be 3. So 3L by time is 3. So answer is L. So the magnitude of torque is L. Very simple question, directly formula based. Okay. Now question number 18. So question number 18 is, a 2 kg mass is rotating on a circular path of radius 0.8 meters. So radius is given as 0.8 meter, 2 kg mass is given as 2 kg, rotating on a circular path of radius with the angular velocity of, so omega is given as 44 radians per second. Okay, if the radius of the path becomes 1 meter, then the value of angular velocity is, now what they have given, the radius changes to 1 meter, radius changes to 1 meter. Now they are asking angular velocity. So we can use angular momentum conservation. So we can say that because no external forces are acting, so radius is changed from 0.8 meter to 1 meter, so angular momentum will remain conserved. So angular momentum is I into omega. So we can say that I1 omega 1 should be equals to I2 omega 2. So what is the initial moment of inertia? Initial moment of inertia I can write down as m into r square. So about this axis I can write down. So this is the axis of rotation. So about this the particle is rotating. So I1 is m is 2 into r square is 0.8 square. Mr square into omega 1 is 44 should be equals to I2. I2 is now mass is same 2 kg. So m into 1 square into omega 2. So omega 2 we have to calculate. So this 2 and 2 will cancel out. So what you will get, 0.64 into 44 divided by will be equals to omega divided by 1 means this. Okay. So if you check the options, so which option will match? Option number 3 will match. If you solve this, answer will be 28.16 radian per second is omega 2. So simply angular momentum we are applying here, by that you will get the answer. Now question number 19. A body is rolling down an inclined plane, its translational and rotational kinetic energies are equal. So any body is rolling down the inclined plane, okay. So what they have given, rotational kinetic energy rotational is equals to kinetic energy translational. So what is the rotational kinetic energy? We know that half into I into omega square is equals to half into m into v square. Now it is in the condition of pure rolling, so v is equals to omega r. So v will be equals to omega into r. So omega square we can write down as v square by r square. So 1 by 2 I into v square by r square will be equals to half m v square. Okay. So v square will cancel out, half and half will cancel out. So I we can write down as m into r square. And we know that moment of inertia is mr square for from the given options it will be hollow cylinder. For hollow cylinder moment of inertia is mr square. Okay. For ring also it is mr square, but that is not given in the options. Okay. Now question number 20. So question number 20 is, let I be the moment of inertia of a uniform square plate about an axis AB that passes through the center and it is parallel to the two of its side. Okay. So what they have given, any square plate is given to you about an axis AB that passes through the center and parallel to the two of its side. Okay, like this. So this is the axis AB and the moment of inertia is I. CD is the line in the plane of the plate and passes through the center of the plate and makes angle theta with the AB. So another line CD is making angle theta with the AB. Okay, like this. You can consider this angle is theta and this is CD, and it is passing from the center itself. The moment of inertia of the plate about the axis CD is equal to, so they are asking the moment of inertia about this axis CD. So as directly we can say, see the square is a symmetrical figure, this axis is also passing from the center itself. So about this axis also moment of inertia will be I. Clear? Because it is a symmetrical figure, so the moment of inertia about this axis or any other axis, like for this also it will be I. Like this way we can say this thing. Okay, so answer is moment of inertia is I only. Now question number 21. So two particles of masses m1 and m2 initially at rest start moving towards each other under mutual force of attraction. the speed of the center of mass at any time t when they are at a distance of r. So actually you see this thing, initially the two masses are at rest, m1 and m2 are at rest, both the masses are at rest. Now they starts moving with the due to the mutual attraction, and mutual attraction is an internal force. Internal force means initially the center of mass is at rest and no external forces are acting. F external is 0. No external forces are acting, so we can say that velocity of center of mass will remain 0. Velocity of center of mass will not change and it will be 0 because initial velocity of center of mass is 0 and no external forces are acting, so velocity of center of mass will remain 0. So option number 4 is correct for question number 21. Clear? So velocity can be changed only due to the external forces, not due to the internal forces, because net external force acting on the system is 0. F net is 0 on the system. If you take these two block masses as a system, the net external force is 0. Clear? Now question number 22. A particle undergoes uniform circular motion about a point on a plane of about which point on the plane of circle will the angular momentum of the particle will remain conserved. So if the particle is moving in a circular path, okay, and they are asking about which point the angular momentum will remain conserved. So angular momentum will remain conserved about the point from which the centripetal force will pass, because if the centripetal force is passing from this center, the torque of this centripetal force will become 0, and we know that so we can say that angular momentum will remain conserved about the point about which the net torque is 0. So here centripetal force can only give the torque. So if the we know that centripetal force is passing from the center, so the net torque of centripetal force will become 0, then angular momentum will remain conserved. So answer is center of circle. Center of circle, net torque will be 0. Torque of centripetal force will also be 0, so we can use angular momentum conservation. Now question number 23. A body A of mass capital M while falling vertically downward under gravity breaks into two parts. So one body of mass capital M, this is a body A of mass capital M, is falling under gravity breaks into two parts. A B of mass, so it is breaking into two parts, B of mass m by 3 and C of mass 2m by 3. Clear? The center of mass of the body is taken, the center of mass of the bodies B and C taken together shift compared to the that of body towards, okay, see this thing. Actually what they are asking, if this body is breaking into two parts, then what will be the shift in the position of center of mass? Initially if the body is falling, it will fall like this, okay. So this will be the point of center of mass, like this it is falling, okay. When it will break into the two parts, see the body is breaking due to the internal forces. Again the external forces is 0. Then what we can say, the position of center of mass will not change. So as there is no change in the position of center of mass, we can say that center of mass will not shift. In explosion, just remember this thing, the forces that are responsible are internal forces. So no external forces are acting, means the position of center of mass will not change, okay. So what we can say, option number 3 will be correct. Position of center of mass will not shift, okay. Now question number 24. So question number 24 is, a disc is rolling without slipping on a horizontal surface. Any disc is there, it is rolling without slipping, means V and it is omega, and V is equals to R omega. Clear? C is the center, C is the center, and some points are given. This point is P, this point is Q, like this. So now they are asking which point will have more velocity. See this thing, the velocity of point C will be V only. The velocity of point P will be, this will be V, and in this direction will be what? R omega. R omega, and R omega will be equals to V. For this point Q, V will be in this direction and R omega will be in this direction, that is V. So as we can observe from this, which point is having the maximum velocity? Resultant will be under root of V square plus V square, and this angle will be theta. and here cos theta will be positive because theta is less than 90. Here cos theta will be negative because theta is greater than 90. Okay, so we can say that the velocity of the point Q will be greater than the velocity of the point C greater than velocity of the point P. So what we can say, which option will be correct? Option number 2 will be correct. Otherwise you can analyze the velocity with respect to this point O. Okay, so this will be, this you can consider, this is R1, this is R2, this is R3. So we know that V is given by R into omega. So omega is same for both. For which particle the position vector is larger. If you see the diagram, we can say that the position vector R3 is greater than R2 greater than R1. Then we can say that velocity of Q will be greater than C greater than P. So option number 2 is correct. Now question number 25. So a particle of mass m is rotating in a plane with the circular path of radius small r. The angular momentum is L. The centripetal force acting on the particle. We know that centripetal force is given by mv square by r. Mv square by r. But they have given angular momentum as L. Okay. So angular momentum, we have to write down answer in the terms of angular momentum. Angular momentum is given by, angular momentum we can write down as, angular momentum is I into omega. So if a particle is moving in a circular path, mass is n and the radius is r, then I will be equals to m into r square. So angular momentum is I into omega. So omega we can write down as, omega is v by r. Omega is v by r. Clear? So 1 r will cancel out. So angular momentum we can write down as m v into r. This is the angular momentum. Clear? Now they are asking the centripetal force. We know that centripetal force is given by m v square by r. Okay. So what I will do, I will square both sides. This term I can write down as L will be equals to m v r. Okay. And centripetal force is given by m v square by r. So if I square both sides, L square will be equals to m square v square r square. Clear? M v square by r. So what I will do, I will divide by r cube. So this will become L square by r cube is equals to m square v square by r. If you divide by r cube, r square will cancel out, and what you will get, m v square by r. See, I am dividing by r cube, then r square and r cube will cancel out, so what you will get, r only. Clear? So this we can write down as L square by m into r cube will be equals to m v square by r. So now we got m v square by r is centripetal force, that is equals to L square by m into r cube. So which option is matching? Option number 3 is matching, so that is the correct answer. Now question number 26. So question number 26 is, a solid sphere is rotating about its diameter at an angular velocity of omega. It cools so that radius becomes 1/n of its original value, its angular velocity will become. So again here what we can say, solid sphere is rotating about one of its diameter with the angular velocity of omega. Now it cools and the radius becomes 1/n of the original one. Here radius I will consider as r. Now the new radius will be r by n. So now they are asking angular velocity. So angular velocity I will consider as omega dash. Again here we can use angular momentum conservation because no external forces are acting. So angular momentum will remain conserved. So this is I1. So L initial should be equals to L final, and angular momentum is given by I into omega. So I1 omega 1 should be equals to I2 into omega 2. So what is I1? Moment of inertia is 2 by 5 m into r square, omega 1 is omega, should be equals to 2 by 5, mass will remain same, into r will be how much? R by n square into omega dash. Clear? Omega 2 I will consider as omega dash. 2 by 5 m will cancel out, 2 by 5 m. So what you will get? R square omega will be equals to r square by n square omega dash. So omega dash is n square into omega. So by simple calculations we got answer as n square into omega. So option number 1 is correct. Okay. Now question number 27. So a solid sphere, a hollow sphere and ring are released from the top of the inclined plane frictionless, so that they slide down the plane. So actually if you release these objects from the inclined plane, so frictionless means mu is 0, then what will happen? These objects will slide only. Sliding will occur. Sliding will occur means we know that acceleration will be g sin theta. So acceleration is g sin theta, then they are asking maximum acceleration. Acceleration will be same because masses are given as same. If masses are not same also, then also we can say that acceleration is independent of mass. So acceleration will be equals to g sin theta. Because here this is not the case of rolling. In this the particles will slide only because it is a frictionless. Okay. So in sliding case the acceleration is given by g sin theta. So all will have the same acceleration and they will reach at the same time also. Clear? So answer is fourth one. Now question number 28. So question number 28. What they are asking? They are asking a solid cylinder is rolling down on an inclined plane of angle theta. The coefficient of static friction between the plane and the cylinder is mu s. The condition for the cylinder not to slip. This is theta, solid. What they have given? Solid cylinder. Solid cylinder, okay. So they are asking the value of friction, static friction for which it will not slip. So what we can say for pure rolling, this question is also directly formula based. We can say that for pure rolling, mu s should be greater than or equals to what angle is theta, tan theta divided by 1 plus I by mr square. Okay. Mu s should be greater than or equals to tan theta by 1 plus I by mr square. Solid cylinder they have given. Okay. So now we have to, what they are asking, options are given in the form of tan theta should be greater than or less than. Okay. See this. So actually this value I means for solid cylinder, I is equals to solid cylinder, I is given by mr square by 2. Solid cylinder I is mr square by 2. So if you replace here, actually this one will be mr square by I. Okay. So we can say that mu s should be greater than or equals to tan theta divided by 1 plus mr square by I. If you put I as mr square by 2, then what will happen? This mr square will cancel out and you will get as 2 only. So we can say that 3 into mu s should be greater than or equals to tan theta. So if you check the options, which option will match? Option number 3 will match. 3 into mu s should be greater than or equals to tan theta. Correct. Now question number 29. So two discs of same thickness but for the different radii are made of two different materials such that their masses are same, their densities of the materials are in ratio 1:3. So two discs they have given, two discs are given, thickness is same, different radii. So for this I will consider radii as R1, for this radii I will consider as radius we will consider as R2. Made up of two different materials such that their masses are same. So mass of this is m and the mass of this is also m. Clear? Thickness is same. Thickness is given same. The densities of their materials are 1:3. Okay, if the density of this is rho, then the density of this will be 3 rho. The moment of inertia of this disc about their respective axis passing through the center and perpendicular to the plane. So they are asking the moment of inertia about this. We know that moment of inertia is given by mr square by 2 about this axis. What is the moment of inertia? M r square by 2. So we can say that I1 will be equals to m r1 square by 2. For this I2 will be equals to m r2 square by 2 as masses are given same. So if you take the ratio, I1 by I2 will be equals to r1 square by r2 square. So actually we have to calculate the ratio square of the ratio of the radiuses. Okay. So now we will use this condition as the mass is same. See, mass is given by density into volume. So mass is given by density into volume. So that thing we will use here. So what we can say, mass of this is density. Density is rho into volume is area into thickness. Pi r1 square into thickness is t. It is equals to, as masses are same, we can say density into volume is pi r1 square r2 square into thickness is t. Clear? Then we can say that rho and rho will cancel out, t and t will cancel out, pi will cancel out. So we can say that r1 square by r2 square will be equals to 3. r1 square by r2 square is 3. Then if you put here this value, what you will get? 3:1. So answer is 3:1. Okay, this is important. Now question number 30. So question number 30. Two particles A and B initially at rest move towards each other under a mutual force of attraction. So two particles are given, A and B. Initially they are at rest. Velocity is 0. Velocity of A is 0. Velocity of B is also 0. Now they start moving toward each other with the mutual force of attraction at the instant when the speed of A is v. At some instant the speed of A is v, and at that instant the speed of B is 2v. They are asking the speed of center of mass. They are asking the speed of center of mass. We know that it will be 0. Why it is 0? Because these masses, initial velocity of these masses is 0, and they are moving towards each other due to mutual force of attraction, means internal forces. So net force acting on the system is F net is 0. F net is 0. So velocity of center of mass will not change. And initial velocity of center of mass is 0. So at any instant the velocity of center of mass will be 0. Clear? Now we will move on to question number 31. So question number 31 is, center of mass of three particles 10 kg, 20 kg and 30 kg is 0, 0, 0. Where should be the particle of mass 40 kg be placed so that combination will have? So they are asked, what they have given, center of mass of three particles 10 kg, 20 kg and 30 kg is at 0, 0, 0. Center of mass of these particles 10 kg, 20 kg and 30 kg is at 0, 0, 0. Now they are asking where the mass of 40 kg should be placed, so that the new center of mass is at 3, 3, 3. So new center of mass is given as at 3, 3, 3, like this. So see this thing, we can consider this as a total mass of 60 kg, total mass of 60 kg. Then new center, so x coordinate of new center of mass is 3. So we can say 3 will be equals to m1 x1, 60 into x1 is 0 plus m2, 40 into the position of this I will consider as x, divided by total mass. 60 plus 40 is 100. So how much you will get? 300 by 40 is equals to x. So if you solve this, what answer you will get? 7.5. So x coordinate will be 7.5. Similarly, you can calculate for y coordinate and z coordinate. So answer will be 7.5, 7.5, 7.5.